it's Cara from Enchanted Vines, and today we're going to be working on making this beautiful spring floral arrangement in a dough bowl. So let's get going. For today's arrangement, we're going to be designing out of this beautiful rustic wooden dough bowl. Okay, we're going to be using dry foam. I've already pre-cut it, okay, because we want it to fill the space inside. And just glue these in. Lots and lots of glue. Especially if you're going to be shipping something, you just want to make sure it's as secure as possible. So I'm going to put these two blocks in. I'm just going to hold them for a few seconds. And what we're going to be working with today mainly is going to be this floral bush. And what I like about this is, especially if you are somebody that feels challenged around, pulling colors together, different like color palettes, it's great because the work is already done for you. So this bush in particular just has so much texture to it. It's got allium, which I'm such a sucker for allium. I wish I could grow it. It's got some like little berries, some smaller flowers, some of these beautiful roses. So a lot of the work has already been done for us. Then we're going to use just some of these smaller greens, and we're going to use some of the fern. Okay, so we're going to start with the fern, and let's see if I can pull this apart. Usually if it has like paper on it, to some degree you can pull it apart. There we go. Who says wreath making is for the dainty? The tough job. All right, so I'm going to cut just a couple pieces of this off, and we're just going to start framing this out. Okay, so I'm using my glue pot. I'm just going to kind of dip as I go, and I know everybody has their preference. Some people might want to put everything in and then glue. I like to just glue as I go, and if something needs to be changed, try and change it before the glue dries, because this Surebonder glue is like no joke. If you've seen me try and pull stuff out before, it's not an easy task. All right, so I'm just starting with, we're gonna do things balanced, so side to side. Now I'm gonna start going a little bit up. I know doing things small is not my strong suit, so working with this little dough bowl is going to be a fun exercise for me. I am not demure. Okay. So because I don't want this to go too far out, okay, I want to just work from the inside out. Try and find some smaller pieces here. I like this fern. It's got like a little bit of a yellowish tinge to it that looks very natural. And like the stem itself is brown, so it looks like how a branch or a fern would look out in the wilderness, out in the nature, is what I meant to say. Not that dramatic. So I just want to go and make sure that the whole block is covered. More or less. Take the price tag off. Those don't grow in nature. Okay, so we have our fern set in. Now, I don't want this, I want this to go long this way, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this piece of fern, it's already kind of bent, and I'm gonna put it in the front of the block. and actually have it like follow. Okay, so it's following the curve of the block. I like how that looks. And when you're doing floral design, it's just all on the fly. You can't really like practice, so it's nice when things exceed your expectations. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna give this a nice bend. All these materials are very malleable. You know, they have heavy duty wire. They're not gonna break. So you wanna manipulate them so that they work for your project. Now I'm gonna backfill a little bit with, this is a boxwood bush. Okay, and it's cute. It's got like little tiny, they're like little, I don't know if they're flowers or berries, but they're very cute. So this is a petite bush, so the stems are pretty short. It's not a pusher, so like this is something that you would use in a lower arrangement. Okay, so we're just gonna start going kind of like back and forth. Okay, I put one there. Now I'm gonna go to this corner. Now I'm gonna go do this corner. I'm so happy with my new Lazy Susan. She's pretty and she is efficient. Okay, you go into HomeSense looking for one thing and you come out with something else. All right, now we're gonna take the second one. I'm gonna again just cut this at the base of the stems. All right, and I'm gonna start to fill the inside, okay? I have been doing some floral arrangements lately, and when I like have them like, you know, staged so I can photograph them to list them, I'm like, it really does brighten up your space. Like, it makes me happy. You know, when we think about what our why is, our why doesn't have to be like crazy complicated. It could be that we like making other people feel good. We like making people feel happy in their home, you know, things like that. It's not like, oh, I'm just, like, don't ever describe yourself as a just anything, because you are much more than that. And sometimes we can't articulate, you know, exactly why it's our why, but we know it just feels good. And I just have felt like these floral arrangements just bring me joy. And I hope they're gonna bring joy to someone else's home. All right, so now we're gonna work with our mixed bush. And I'll end up putting the SKUs in to the description, but I'm just gonna cut all of these down. And when I'm working with flowers, I typically like to put the larger blooms in first, and then it kind of, you start to create a pattern, and then you're backfilling it with other items. So for us, our big blooms are gonna be these beautiful roses. They have like a little purple tinge to them. They're really, really pretty. Roses come in so many colors, like naturally. They're just one of my favorites. Like, I love even just going and getting some from the grocery store, like I like orange and pink. That's kind of like my favorite combo, whether it's tulips or roses. So I have done that recently. And again, it made me feel happy. And I'm like, it's, you know, 10, 12 bucks, and it brings me joy for, you know, a week or two. Okay, so to start, we have 4 of our roses. Okay, so let's see. Just send down just a little bit. I'm gonna start by putting, I'll put these in it like a slant. That way. That way, and you always want to make sure you hit it, you hear it like going into the foam block. Okay, so here we have right now this balanced look. We're going to repeat on the back. Yeah, because I was thinking, like, I don't know how I got into making wreaths and floral arrangements. I worked at a florist when I was like 18, 19 years old. But like, it's not like my grandmother or my mother like did things with flowers. So I don't know. I'm actually moving these a little bit closer. I think they should just be spaced a little bit closer together. I have so much glue on my hands. I always have glue on my hands. Goes with the territory, right? Okay. Now we're gonna go with our next biggest bloom, which is going to be our Alium. Ooh, I like that. And so we have 3. So you always kind of want to do a count. You know, it actually doesn't hurt to really like separate things before you start. Just to make sure that you have enough for what you're trying to do, the pattern you're trying to create. There's a lot in this. This is great. Okay. So for the Allium, we have 3. So I'm gonna put one in the middle, right up top here. It's gonna be a little bit higher than the roses. And then I'm going to put one facing out. See where I'm going with this? And then we're gonna have another one on the other side pointing outward. You don't have to be exact. You know, when you think about how things grow in nature, things are messy, so it's nice to have things that they don't have to be like perfect. All right, so now we're gonna start going in with our filler flowers because we have the most of these, and then we just have a couple other accents. You can see how quickly this whole thing came together. I'm going to start by putting one in the center. Repeat. Making sure that it's just a little bit below the Allium, right? Okay. Now I'm going to go into the middle. Okay, and I'm going to put one right here in the middle. And then I'm going to take one and have it going outward. Okay, like so. And I'm going to put another one in the middle on the opposite side of that Allium. And then I'm going to have one going out. I'm gonna give that a nice bend. Okay, so we're gonna just use up the rest of our fern. And then we'll add in our last few pieces. I wish I had like a little stopwatch because I'm always curious like how long these things take. And I think floral designing, you know, it's enjoyable, it's relaxing. You don't need to overthink it because there's no you know, wrong way really to do an arrangement. If it's something that looks good to you, then that's all that matters. It's just a feeling, you know, because like floral arrangements can be very, like almost messy. They don't have to follow the rules of, you know, like the 3s and the 5s. I mean, like all of that stuff, it's a little bit antiquated. Like if you want to do it that way, sometimes that's what looks best. But there's no like hard, fast rules on like you have to do things a certain way or it doesn't look good. I also like when people like bunch things together. I have yet to try it. I don't know why I don't think to. I like that look too. Okay, we're down to 2 pieces of our fern, and we're just making sure that we are all filled in here. And you know what? I'm taking out these 2 pieces because it's actually completely covering the dough bowl. I do like to have things cascading down, but this is like really covering it up. And like the dough bowl itself is so, so pretty. So let's repurpose you. Depending on when you're watching this video, it's January, so we're kind of gearing up for hopefully people looking to buy, you know, Valentine's Day gifts. So it's good to have some items in your shop that are, you know, like below a certain price range, whether it's like below the $100 mark or the $50 mark, something that is, you know, fairly easy to ship, and something that, you know, it'll find its right person. So if you're looking for, you know, your tags, what I like to do is go into the Etsy search bar and then just start typing it in, you know, like flowers or centerpiece, and then see what pre-populates. And we did this on a live last night, and I was saying that, you know, people maybe would say like fake flowers, and someone's husband was watching and he had like the right answer. He's like, no, I'd ask for like a floral bouquet or something. I'm like, okay. So it really all depends on how people word things. Like, I don't want to put like something's fake. I feel like permanent botanicals have come such a long way. They deserve better. All right, here we go. Okay, so I decided I wanted to add just a couple other things. Okay, so we're going to be going with these mauve hydrangea. Okay, and I love this line. All different colors, and I'm always happy with the quality. So, okay, so I'm working with 6. Okay, and I'm going to start in the middle. And we're going to repeat. My glue pot is not looking so hot. Don't know how to clean them. Somebody had mentioned like using like something to scrape, like a credit card or something. All right, so we have them on either side. And now I'm gonna put one here next to our rose. Do one here to match it. And if the foliage gets in the way, you could either trim it, you could just pull it off, however you want to do it. And I lied. What do we have? We have 5. Okay, so this one's gonna go smack in the middle. Okay, now we're gonna go in with, what would we call this? Lavender, I think. So these slide up, which I love, because that way you can make it as compact or as airy as you want. So for this, we don't have a lot of space for long stems, so I'm just gonna push it all up. Okay, now I'm gonna start in the middle. Ooh, I'm liking the contrast here. Give me all the color. Now I'm going to bring it to one side, do a little bend, go to the other side. So much glue on my hands. Okay, and then for each of the front facing sides, I'm gonna put 2 in. And, you know, unless you're putting this somewhere like, if it's designed for, you know, an entryway table, or it's gonna go on a windowsill, you know, those are things that you want to just be 3-sided. But when it comes to arrangements, if it's going to be, you know, on a kitchen island, it's gonna be on someone's dining room table, you always wanna make sure that people all have the best view. So we wanna make sure that each side, you know, it's balanced, but they're both also like equally beautiful. Two more left. Let's see. I think we'll do up here. See, I struggle with the small. I can't say this is turning out as small as I expected. To each their own. My things just always end up being kind of big. I'm going to trade this out because this piece is small. I need to stick out. Now it's getting like crowded on the block, so I make sure I'm hitting it. There we go. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to hide the mechanics, okay? Like if we're looking at this at eye level, which I know nobody's going to be, but don't mind the glue hairs, that's gonna be taken care of. But right now, you know, I can see the block in here. So what I like to use is Spanish moss, okay? It's very messy, but like a little goes a long way. So you just pull it apart, okay? And we're also gonna be using floral pins. So you can get floral pins, you know, I'm sure on Amazon. They have like big bags at Hobby Lobby. But if you don't have them or you just don't want to spend the money on them, you can also take, you know, any like wire stems and just kind of make them into a U shape. It's going to serve the same purpose. It is so cold here in New Hampshire, and so like seeing these flowers just makes me feel so much better. I don't like it when it's too hot in the summer, I complain. When it's too cold in the winter, I complain. Spring and fall. Spring's my favorite. So everything comes back to life. And then even though this is going to be an interior arrangement, I would still use the UV protection. So it's the Krylon UV spray for artificial florals, and they sell that at Michael's, they sell it at Walmart. It's not expensive. It's, you know, maybe $10 a can, and you're going to get a lot of use out of it. So, you know, just like when we're in the car, we don't think we're getting exposed to the sun, but we should have sunscreen on because we are. It just isn't as strong. So in our homes, even though it's not like sunlight is, you know, like blasting on our arrangements, it's still coming in. And so just to make sure that these things are lasting, you know, we're not trying to sell things that are going to last a season. Like we want something that's going to be in someone's home for years. Years and years. And so when you're doing the floral pin, just make sure you hear it hit the block so that you know that you secured everything. All right, a mess has been made, but our arrangement is complete. All right, so here she is. Let me know if you guys try this design or what you think of this design. And if you enjoy designing with me, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.